19th century history of Maharashtra, particularly the Renaissance in Western India. He has authored 19 books and edited 42 books and journals. Among the books, a very noted one is The History of Pune University, published in 1999 on the occasion of Golden Jubilee of the university. Recently, he edited the second enlarged and updated edition of the book Prarthana Samajacha Itihas, originally written by Dwarkanath Govind Vaidya in 1927 on the occasion of Diamond Jubilee of Bombay Prarthana Samaj. This second edition edited by Professor Dikshit was published by Asiatic Society of Mumbai in 2019. This was a voluminous work, a result of very sincere and hard efforts and dedication of Professor Dikshit. Professor Dikshit has been recipient of several awards, of which a few are the late Principal V.K. Zog Award of the University of Pune for his contribution to research and teaching, and the Maharshi Vitthal Ramji Shinde Award, a Lifetime Achievement Award of R.N. Chavan Foundation. Apart from being an ardent teacher and researcher, Professor Dikshit is a great, compassionate human being. Professor Raja Dikshit has a very long association with Pune Prarthana Samaj. He was the chief guest of the 130th session of Brahmo Conference hosted online in 2020 by Pune Prarthana Samaj. He chose Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Maharashtra as the topic for today's talk. While preparing for this talk, he has actually done research on this topic, which may result in publishing a small book in near future. Professor Dikshit, we are all very eager to listen to you now. I now hand over the charge to Amit Das for the further proceeding.
Thank you, Mrs. Jo. So may I request Professor Raja Dikshit to speak on Ram Mohan Roy and Maharashtra.
Namaskar. Good evening, everybody. Let me. Am I audible?
Yes,
am I audible?
You are audible.
Okay. Thank you. Let me at the outset pay my respect to Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who is truly called as the father of modern India. I believe that a university teacher like me, for a university teacher like me, the best way to do so is to deliver a lecture based on my own research and to try to bring to light some new aspects pertaining to the history of modern India, with special reference to Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Let me first thank the organizers, especially Professor Sulakshana Kundu Mukherjee and Shri Amit Das and all their colleagues and the office bearers of the Citizen Forum for the celebration of the 250th birth anniversary of Raja Ram Mohan Roy at Kolkata. I am also thankful to Professor Dilip Jog and Professor Sushma Jog, who introduced me to the organizers. When one has to speak on Raja Ram Mohan Roy, one simple way could be to narrate his biography. But I am not going to do that. Actually, I have chosen a different theme, and the theme is Raja Ram Mohan Rai and Maharashtra. I'm sure that many people do not know about this particular aspect very deeply. And that's why, uh, while introducing me very generously, Professor Sushma Jog has made a mention to my work on history of Prarthana Samaj. It is an edited work, but while conducting that research, I came across many references pertaining to Raja Ram Mohan Rai. And then that created a kind of curiosity in my mind, and thus started my research about how Raja Ram Mohan Rai greatly influenced Maharashtra uh, right from his lifetime to till date. And I came across many interesting facts while conducting this kind of research. And that's why I have decided to share those facts and figures with you during the course of this lecture. As all of you are aware, Raja Ram Mohan Rai belongs to the category of what we call as Mahapurusha in the Indian languages. He was a person who left a permanent impact on the minds of the Indian people, and he has proved to be a constant source of inspiration to the social reformers as well as the political leaders and common people also. And uh, I personally believe that there are very few people like him. In my humble opinion, I can name 5 persons who made such a profound impact on the minds of the Indian people as far as the history of modern India is concerned. And they were, of course, first one was Raja Ram Mohan Rai, followed by Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade, Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Mahatma Gandhi, and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Before I say anything about Raja Ram Mohan Rai, let me mention one thing, that there is a close connection and constant dialogue between Bengal and Maharashtra. And as a student of history, I have a keen interest about this particular dialogue, because in my study, being a specialist of modern Indian history, I came across many instances where this kind of dialogue was established, especially in the 19th century, which is known as the Renaissance period. I mean, we find that before, immediately after the fall of the Maratha power in 1818, within one generation, the process of Renaissance began in Maharashtra. And the very first newspaper, Darpan, set up by Bal Shastri Ambekar in 1832, shows clearly that there was an influence of the Bengali ethos on the Marathi journalism. In fact, both his journals, the newspaper Darpan, which was the first Marathi journal, first Marathi newspaper set up in 1832, and the first magazine, again set up by Bal Shastri Ambekar in 1840, Digdarshan. Both these names were borrowed from the Bengali names, Samachar Darpan and Digdarshan. So right from that period, we find that there is a continuous interaction between these provinces, especially the intellectuals in these two provinces. I have no time to go into the details, but let me just put before you some 3-4 examples. All of you know about the Indigo Revolt of 1860 that took place in Bengal. That time, the play Neela Darpan was produced, and this Neela Darpan of Dinabandhu Mitra created great awakening in Bengal at that time. You will be surprised to know that within 12 years, this play was translated into Marathi by Moro Vittal Walvekar, who was a Prarthana Sabhajist and who also was a close associate of Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. You know, the famous economist Ramesh Chandra Dutt, he in 1870s wrote some novels, one of which was Maharashtra Jeevan Prabha, and the hero of that novel was Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. In fact, Shivaji cult became popular in Bengal thanks to Devskar, a Marathi person settled in Bengal, and the leadership of Lokmanya Tilak. Many instances could be quoted, but I won't go into those details. Tagore brothers, Satyendranath Tagore and Rabindranath Tagore, they had stayed for some years in Maharashtra. And they had a very good interaction with the Maharashtrian intellectuals. In fact, Rabindranath Tagore had translated many of the Abhangas of Saint Poet Tukaram in Bengali. As far as the history writing is concerned, Sir Jadunath Sarkar and Surendranath Sen have immensely contributed to the historiography of the Marathas. So, as I said, many examples could be given, but I won't go into that. I must resist that temptation because I have to say something about Rajaram Mohan Roy's impact on Maharashtra. One more thing we must remember, that both these provinces, Bengal and Maharashtra, the process of Renaissance obviously began in Bengal because Bengal came in contact with the British quite early, right from the Battle of Plassey. And there is a gap of about 71 years as far as the control over Bengal and control over Maharashtra by the British is concerned. But very soon, in the 19th century, Maharashtra also catched that spirit, and these two provinces were really leading as far as the Renaissance and the national awakening and the freedom movement was concerned. So, on the background of this close connection between the two provinces, it is very interesting to know about the Maharashtrian response and Maharashtrian respect for Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And I shall just put before you many such examples chronologically. Of course, since I have many original documents with me, probably the flow of my lecture will be sometimes interrupted. But of course, I have well arranged all those sources. I hope that I shall be able to put before you one by one all these sources showing the impact of Raja Ram Mohan Roy on Maharashtra. Let us begin from Darpan, the first Marathi newspaper. Bal Shastri Jambekar, just as Raja Ram Mohan Roy is known as the father of Indian Renaissance, Jambekar is sometimes called as the father of Renaissance in Maharashtra, one of the earliest reformers. And 3 big volumes of all his writings were brought up by G.G. Jambekar in 1946 that include some of the original issues of Darpan and Digdarshan. Now, just see, during the lifetime of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, the reference was made to his work in Darpan. Darpan, as I said, was set up in 1832. And in the very first issue of Darpan, that is 6th January 1832, there was a small article on Raja Ram Mohan Roy. It was a bilingual journal, and there were 2 columns, English as well as Marathi. Just to give you some idea, I shall read a small passage from that article published on 1st of January, 6th of January, 1832 in the columns of Darpan. The very title of the article is Raja Ram Mohan Rai. And the article begins with the citation from India Gazette, Bombay Courier of 24th of December. I won't read that, but just see what this article says. Just small paragraph I shall read. There is no time to read the full text of that. Ram Mohan Rai, as the generality of our native readers must be well aware, is a native of Bengal and of Brahmin descent. He appears to have devoted his earlier years to the study of the languages of Asia as well as those of Europe, and his proficiency in many is acknowledged by the best scholars of the day. With his love of general literature, he indulged also in reflection on religious subjects, which induced him at last totally to forsake the faith in which he was born and to embrace deism. He went to England last year on a mission from the Emperor of Delhi and has received since his arrival there cordial marks of friendship from some of the English nobility and gentlemen of the first rank. So in this way, his visit to England was known to the Maharashtrians, and the Darpan, the note was taken by Darpan in the very first issue. Then in the same year, we come across another article about Raja Ram Mohan Rai. And the very title of that article is The Evidence of Ram Mohan Rai in England. Here also I would like to just read out first a few lines because it is a big article. It is said that in our, I just quote, in our next, we intend to extract for the information of our native readers some of the most important and interesting parts of the evidence of our countryman Raja Ram Mohan Rai at present in England on the judicial system of India as given in his replies to questions put to him in writing by the committee appointed to collect information on the affairs of the country for the use of British Parliament in reference to the question which must shortly come before them, whether the East India Company's charter should be or should not be renewed after its expiration in 1853. Then some more details are given, and though great respect was shown about this great work of Raja Ram Mohan Rai, the editor of Darpan looked at it not merely as the achievement of an individual, but as a general process that was developing as a result of the awakening in India. And that's why in that article, instead of glorifying and deifying Raja Ram Mohan Rai, it is stated that there are some other such intellectuals in India who also could do the same job. So I mean that on one hand, the editor is showing respect for Raja Ram Mohan Rai. At the same time, he is making aware the people that, well, we have the potential to do such things on a greater scale. And that kind of confidence, that kind of spirit of reform was very important. But I must say that Raja Ram Mohan Rai initiated that kind of spirit in Bengal, which spread all over India. And that is why he is always described as the harbinger of the reformist spirit in India, the father of modern India. As you are aware, Rabindranath Tagore, Gurudev Tagore, he very aptly called him, as he said that he was the inaugurator of modern age in India. Hmm. He is known as the prophet of humanism. You know, in different ways, he has been described by many scholars because of his multifaceted achievements. As you are aware, he was a great social reformer, religious reformer. He had the belief in new political ideas, new democratic constitutional way. He was one of the pioneers of the agitational constitutional politics in India. He immensely contributed to field of knowledge and culture and literature also. He was instrumental in introducing modern education in India. He was the father of Bengali prose. He compiled the grammar of that language. He himself was a great linguist who knew many languages, who had mastered many languages. He had made a comparative study of different religions of the world and developed a kind of universal approach. He applied the spirit of reason to religion. Many such things could be said about him. He was the father of journalism in India, many aspects. And this learned audience knows all those things. So I need not go into all those details. But to sum up his achievements, I would just say about his approach, that his approach was broad-based, synthetic, liberal, humanistic, reformative, uh, civil libertarian, modern, and universal. So naturally, those, especially the English educated people all over the country, they were getting influenced by his idea. Now, the next important instance of the impact of Raja Ram Mohan Roy was the establishment of Prarthana Samaj in the year 1867. Many of you are aware that this reformist body was established in Maharashtra, in Mumbai, and later on the branches were set up at other cities like Pune also. This was a reformist body believing in the similar principles that were set by Brahmo Samaj, monotheism, non-idolatry way, women's emancipation, and many such great principles, modern principles and values. So if we read the history of Prarthana Samaj, we come across many examples of how the founders of Prarthana Samaj, they took inspiration from Raja Ram Mohan Roy and his Brahmo Samaj. So that was probably the greatest example of his influence on Maharashtrian intellectuals. As a result of this, there is no wonder that some biographies of Raja Ram Mohan Roy were written in Maharashtra or by the Maharashtrian authors. The earliest example of that is the biography of Roy by Bhaskar Hari Bhagwat, who was the member and secretary, for some time the treasurer of Prarthana Samaj. And as early as 1876, Bhagwat wrote the first biography of Raja Ram Mohan Roy in Marathi. In G.B. Sardar's book, the year of the publication is mentioned as 1858. But after the careful study of the life of Bhagwat, I came to the conclusion that whatever is mentioned in the history of Prarthana Samaj by Vaidya is correct. Because, in the year 1858, Bhagwat was just taking his education. So it is not likely that he had written that book in 1858. So the date given by Dwarkanath Govind Vaidya in his History of Prarthana Samaj, the year 1877 appears to be correct. Then another biography of in this book, you will get all these examples. Prarthana Samajacha Itihas. Another biography was written by Balbhim Rao Ketkar, or who is known as B.B. Keskar. And just 1 minute, I am referring to that page where the information is given. You know, the exact year hasn't been mentioned there, but it is stated since the History of Prarthana Samaj was first produced in 1927, it is quite clear that Keskar's biography came probably in the 20th century, early years of the first 2 decades of 20th century. And, you know, in that History of Prarthana Samaj, Vaidya has quoted Bhagavad extensively and shown how Bhagavad had very carefully studied the life and achievements of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and how he had truly understood the spirit of reform created by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. All this is in Marathi, but this could be later on translated into English for the benefit of the larger audience. Similarly, in course of time, some other works on Raja Ram Mohan Roy were also produced. I shall just give you 1 or 2 examples of that. You know, in the year 1916, one of the Prarthana Samajists, Vasanta Narayan Naik, he actually read a paper, presented a paper on the occasion of the 82nd anniversary of death of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and it was presided over by Mr. K. Natarajan, editor of Indian Social Reformer, and this was later on published by K.R. Mitra of Manoranjan Press. Just for your benefit, I shall show you the Xerox copy that I have of the cover. You see, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, an appreciation, that is the title, and it is written by Vasanta Narayan Naik, M.A. And this was published by Manoranjan Press in the year 1916. You know, at the end of the preface, the date has been mentioned, 6th June 1916. So as early as 1916, this book was produced. Then later on, this tradition continued, and one of the presidents of Mumbai Prarthana Samaj, Mr. G.L. Chandavarkar, in the year 1968, he also wrote a pamphlet on Raja Ram Mohan. Actually, it appears that he had probably delivered the lecture at Himalaya Brahmo Samaj, Shimla, and it was published in the form of a booklet or a small book in 1968. So the point is, I have given you the two examples of Marathi books and 2 of English books. This shows what kind of interest was there about the life and mission of Raja Ram Mohan Roy in Maharashtra. Similarly, apart from these publications, sometimes whatever was published about Roy outside Maharashtra, especially in Bengal, that was also referred to by the Maharashtrian people. And I shall show you the interesting example. This is a page from the Journal of Mumbai Prarthana Samaj Subodha Patrika, the issue published on 21st October 1956. 1956. And at the top, you will find a small advertisement or announcement made there. What is that announcement? It is interesting, so I shall just read out for you. It is stated, the title is Ram Mohan, the Universal Man. So that is the title of the book. This is the title of a booklet which is published by Jyotindranath Das for the Sadharan Brahmo Samaj, Calcutta, and printed at the Brahmo Mission Press in the same city. It is an address delivered by Brajendranath Seal at the death anniversary of Raja Ram Mohan Rai, held at Bangalore on the 27th September 1924. Just see. Published at Calcutta. Original lecture delivered at Bangalore. And this announcement is made in a journal published at Mumbai. So how there was a nationwide impact. Just see that. Now, in that announcement, it is clearly stated, we have received a few copies of this booklet. The booklet is priced at Anna's 8 only. The booklet is, the copies will be available at the book room of the Samaj and at the Samaj office between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. So in this way, the literature about Raja Ram Mohan Rai was circulated at least in the Prarthana Samaji circles throughout this period, right from the establishment of Prarthana Samaj. Now, let us come to another example. Many of the leading personalities associated with Mumbai and Pune Prarthana Samaj, they used to deliver public lectures on Raja Ram Mohan Rai on different occasions. For example, Justice M.G. Ranade, Justice Sir Chandavarkar, then Vaman Amaji Modak, who was a close friend of Ranade and who was, along with Ranade, one of the first 4 graduates of Mumbai University, Bombay University. Then Vittal Ramji Shinde, all these leaders of Prarthana Samaj, they used to deliver lectures or sermons on Rai at different occasions, at different places. So in the history of Prarthana Samaj, we come across the example of one such lecture, and that lecture was delivered by Vaman Abaji Modak. Actually, you will find that Vaman Abaji Modak at that time was not keeping good health. But when he was asked to deliver a lecture on this theme, he completely devoted himself for the preparation of that lecture. Actually, he overstrained himself. I can imagine that, because last few days I have gone through this experience and I am a very insignificant man. But Vaman Abaji Modak, great scholar, he was a giant, great leader of Prarthana Samaj. I can imagine what he must have done that time. So he completely devoted himself for that preparation. And in September 1893, the lecture was organized at Mumbai. He delivered the lecture, and it is stated that the lecture proved to be immensely effective. But unfortunately, within very few days, he suffered the paralytic attack. And due to that kind of, problem of paralysis, finally, within 2 or 3 years, he passed away. That is very unfortunate. But before that, before getting this attack, that last lecture was delivered on Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So that is a very important example. Another example, which I would definitely like to put before you, is that of course, Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade. In fact, whatever I have read about Raja Ram Mohan Roy in Marathi, I think this piece is the best one. Ranade, actually, this was originally a lecture delivered by Ranade. In 1896, it was the occasion of 63rd death anniversary of Roy. And that time, Ranade delivered this lecture, it appears that in English. This lecture was later on included in Dharmapar Vyakhyane. Dharmapar Vyakhyane, the outstanding work of Ranade, the religious discourses, published posthumously in 1902 by Ramabai Ranade. In that book, we come across this separate lecture or separate article, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, which runs into 15 pages, a long article. And at the end of the article, a note is given. There is a note that it was originally a lecture on the life and teachings of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and it was delivered in English. But unfortunately, I did not come across the English version of the lecture. I could only get the Marathi version, which is published in Dharmapar Vyakhyane. Anyway, but what is special about this lecture? Ranade, he was a great intellectual, and just like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ranade was really a great stalwart. So he had a different kind of vision, and that's why when he said something about Roy, it was not at all merely biographical. Some biographical details were given by Ranade, but he tried to put all that in a wider context. And that's why we find that Ranade says that we generally believe that Roy was the founder of Brahmo Samaj. Yes, in the formal sense, he was the founder of Brahmo Samaj. But Ranade believes that Brahmo Samaj or establishment of Brahmo Samaj was not merely an event. That was the part of a very long process. And that was the part of an age-old process in the opinion of Ranade. And that's why he said that there is a long tradition which goes back to Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad Puran and even to the earlier period. So he shows that tradition, long tradition, and believes that this was one landmark with which Raja Ram Mohan Roy was associated. He uses the word Pitru Parampara. And he says that, well, the beginning was not made by Roy, but the process did not end with him also. So he has explained the whole evolution of a kind of Bhagavad Parampara, which believed in some ideal moral religious principles. And he puts Raja Ram Mohan Roy in that wider context. That is one thing. Secondly, for discussing the greatness of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ranade speaks about the general qualities of great man. So, whom to call a great man? That is his question. Because he says that, well, we are celebrating the death anniversary. We also, the Indian people also perform the Shraddha of, the relatives, mother, father, and some ancestors. That is done, and that is done with a great feeling of respect. But those people are not necessarily great people. So whenever this kind of anniversary is celebrated at different places in the country, that person must be a great person. Then what are the qualities of great man? And then he goes into that and he narrates those qualities. There is no time to discuss everything, but belief in truth, then the passion for the good of the society, not merely of the individual, transcending the selfish attitude and thinking about the whole society, etc. Many such qualities have been mentioned there. And on that background, Ranade says that we find that all such Raja Ram Mohan Rai possessed all such qualities, and he was a Mahapurush. That's why he was a great man. Though I could not come across the English version of the lecture in Vaidya's History of Prarthana Samaj, I came across some English citations, and it is worth reading those citations because that gives us the idea about Ranade's views about Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So I shall very briefly put that before you. Just 1 minute. There is some such interruption when I am referring to the things. Yes. Yeah, just see this. What he says. I quote, with Raja Ram Mohan Rai, the Brahma Samaj faith was not a new dispensation, a new declaration of God's purposes. He aspired only to establish harmony between men's accepted faiths and their practical observances by a strict monolatrous worship of the one supreme soul, a worship of the heart and not of the hands, a sacrifice of self, not the possessions of the self. There was nothing Christian in its conception, origin, or method. This was a very important point because there was a charge against the Brahmo Samajis that they were imitating the Christians and they are going by that way only. But he says that, well, there was some influence of Christianity, no doubt, but there was no blind imitation of Christianity. We find that there was the originality, and the original source came from the Indian tradition only. That's what he explained. Then just see, in just 2-3 lines, he brings out the greatness of Rai. He says, I quote, he was at once a social reformer, he was the founder of a great religious movement, and he was a great politician. These 3 activities were combined in him in such a way that they put to shame the performances of the best among us at the present time. So he says that he was so great that we just cannot compare ourselves with him. Just in 3 lines, he has stated the greatness of Rai. And then he continues, anybody who wants to know what true patriotism is, had better study the evidence that he gave and the letters he wrote to men in power over 60 years age, long before our era of Congress meeting and conferences. So in this way, I mean, I'm trying to find out the English version, but anyway, this will give the idea how Ranade, he spoke about the greatness of Rai in his Dharmapara Vyakhyan or religious discourse. Just as the intellectuals were saying something about the greatness of Rai, at the institutional level, something concrete was done to just revive the memory of Raja Ram Mohan Rai. Here is one example. You know, when the work of Prarthana Samaj was expanding, the Prarthana Samajists in Mumbai, they felt the need of making some provision for the stay of the Brahmo missionaries coming from Bengal or other Prarthana Samajists coming from other places from Maharashtra, some kind of guest house was required. And that's why Ram Mohan Ashram was built in the premises of the Prarthana Samaj in Mumbai. There is a separate chapter on that Rama Mohan Ashram in the history of Prarthana Samaj written by Vaidya. And that shows that this ashram was built in 1903 and 4 in the premises of that Prarthana Samaj Prarthana Samaj building. And in the year on 29th February 1903, the foundation stone was laid down at the auspicious hands of Guru Arya Dr. Ramakrishna Gopal Bhandarkar. And that time, Bhandarkar also paid a great tribute to Roy. And later on, when the opening ceremony took place, at that time the chief guest was Babu Bipin Chandra Pal. And Babu Bipin Chandra Pal, in his address at Mumbai, greatly appreciated this nice gesture of the Mumbai Prarthana Samajis to revive the memory of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And that time, this statement made by him was very important. He said that in the Brahmo movement, there are different streams, there are different groups. And even in Bengal, there are 3 factions of Brahmo Samaj. Okay, there are some such groups, they are following their own ways. But he said that even though there are separate groups, there are separate ways, all of them have a great respect for Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and that is the common source of inspiration for all these subsects. And then he adds that those groups in Bengal and the newly emerging groups in Maharashtra, all of them should regard Raja Ram Mohan Roy as their real guru, their real leader, and their real guide. If they do that, then great progress could be achieved. That was stated by Babu Bipin Chandra Pal at that ceremony. So in this way, this ashram was established. Later on, Ram Mohan School was set up in the same ashram, which was later on shifted to another campus. So this is another important thing. It was a kind of institutional matter, and this tradition later on continued. Then again, let me put before you one more example of a leader of Prarthana Samaj saying something about the legacy of Raja Ram Mohan. I have 2 pages from the book. That is the compilation of the lectures of Justice Sir Narayan Chandavarkar, which was published in the year 1914. And in that, Chandavarkar had actually delivered a lecture on the growth of Brahmo Dharma. Brahmo Dharmachi Wad, that was the original title. Growth of Brahmoism. And in that, he explains how Raja Ram Mohan Roy was instrumental in bringing forward this movement and how it evolved into a nationwide movement thanks to the efforts of his followers in course of time. He says that at that time the situation in India was so stagnant that some kind of shock treatment was required. And that kind of shock treatment was provided by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, according to him. And then he goes on and says that later on, Maharshi Devendranath and Keshav Chandra Sen, they actually concretized the ideas of Ram Mohan Roy. So the original credit goes to Raja Ram Mohan Roy, but these ideas put forth by him were developed in a concrete form by his followers. So he discusses the whole process of the growth of Brahmoism in India in a very effective way. And Raja Ram Mohan Roy's work in the field of education is well known. Taking inspiration from that, Prarthana Samaj also decided to create a web of different schools in Maharashtra. And they did so in course of time. In the initial stage, when the first model school was set up in Mumbai in the year 1917, that school was named after Ram Mohan Roy. So the name of the school was Ram Mohan English School, Girgaon, Mumbai, set up in June 1917. Quite interestingly, the name of the road was also Raja Ram Mohan Roy Road, where the main office of Prarthana Samaj was located. So this school was set up, and just to give you the idea about that, this is the building, original building of Prarthana Samaj, and here you can see in the same building later on the school was shifted from Ram Mohan Ashram. You can see probably the name of the school, and later, I mean the later version, the modern version, you can see it here. I could not get good copies because I had hurriedly studied all these aspects and collected as many sources as I could in the span of few months. So, but anyway, you can see that. So this school was set up in 1917, and later on, one more school at Dadar was set up, which was also named after Ram Mohan Roy in 1942. Not only Prarthana Samaj, but those who were associated with the activities of Prarthana Samaj, but doing their work separately, they also had a great respect for Ram Mohan Roy. So one such person, his surname was Shilavanta, and he was running a night school in Mumbai. There was a tradition of such night schools for workers and even some untouchables and all such people who could not take education during the daytime. Right from the beginning, Prarthana Samaj did this work, and this Shilavanta was running some such school. But due to many difficulties, later on he decided to shift that school, and he set up a separate institute for that, and that institute was also named after Roy, Ram Mohan Vidyavardhini Sabha. It was named as Ram Mohan Vidyavardhini Sabha in 1949. Then another example I would like to show you. When in 1927, the Bombay Prarthana Samaj's Diamond Jubilee was celebrated, a beautiful album of the founders' portraits was published by Prarthana Samaj. I don't have the colored copy with me, but in that album of the portraits of the founders of Prarthana Samaj, there was a very good, beautiful picture of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, showing his signature also there. Raja Ram Mohan Roy with his signature, and below that, date of his birth, when he died, all these details were given. He was described as father of modern India, and he was described in this way: founder of Brahmo Samaj, eminent Oriental scholar, the first student of comparative religion, great social and religious reformer. So in this way, great tribute was paid to Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Now let me come to a very different example. You know, though the Prarthana Samaj or the original Brahmo Samaj was doing a lot of good work, that work was mainly restricted to the urban areas. And to some extent, there was some kind of elitism also. But Maharshi Vitthal Ramji Shinde, he transcended this kind of limit. He had to give up the membership of Prarthana Samaj. That was unfortunate. But you know that he was the missionary of Prarthana Samaj for many years. And later on, he set up the depressed classes mission. There was a close connection between Prarthana Samaj and depressed classes mission. But in the year 1933, at Wai, in the Satara district, in the rural area, the Prarthana Sangha was established. You know, this was the confluence of the Satyashodak and Brahmo Prarthana tradition. And at Wai, the work of Prarthana Samaj reached up to the rural masses, up to the untouchables and rural women. This was very remarkable feature as far as the history of Prarthana Samaj is concerned. And the inspiration was provided by Vitthal Ramji Shinde, who was a great leader. Unfortunately, some of his achievements were neglected even in Maharashtra. His diary is famous, but recently the unpublished part of his diary, personal diary, has been discovered. I have an article by Professor Randhir Shinde from Kolhapur, who has Professor Goma Pawar, Professor Randhir Shinde. They have contributed greatly to the study of Vitthal Ramji Shinde in Maharashtra today. So in that article, some parts of the unpublished diary of Vitthal Ramji Shinde have been published. And there I came across many examples. You know, 1933 was Samaj in Wai was also the year of the death centenary of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And that time, Maharshi Vitthal Ramji Shinde, he undertook a tour of different places all over Maharashtra, sometimes even outside Maharashtra. And during that tour, he delivered many lectures on Raja Ram Mohan Roy. But again, what is special about these lectures? You know, there are many examples. You know, a diary, date-wise program is given. And there he stated that at Vijapur he delivered a lecture. Then at Sholapur there was a lecture. 200 people were present, and the lecture proved to be so effective that he had to accept one more invitation of a lecture on Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Very special thing about this tour of Shinde is that he covered many places in Maharashtra. That is one thing. Right from Nagpur to the rural areas in Wai. Then the lectures were attended by the rural masses and untouchables also. And he says that my thoughts about Roy reached up to at least 10,000 people during this tour. So this is very remarkable. And this happened in the year 1933. So this is about Vitthal Ramji Shinde. He had written some articles also on Roy. For example, there was one article, Raja Ram Mohan Roy wo Bua Baji. Bua Baji means kind of, Pharisaism, or, sometimes there is religious kind of hypocrisy. So he wrote about that. And he said that how the principle of reason was applied by Raja Ram Mohan Roy to religion, and how the Bua Baji should be wiped out from the society. That kind of article was written by Shinde. So there are many such examples. But here I would like to give you another example. the follower of Shinde from Vai. His father actually set up the Brahmo Samaj in Vai, but Rana Chauhan, this man from the rural area, great man, he was a member of Brahmo Samaj. He was the member of Prarthana Samaj. He also had a great respect for Satyashodhak tradition, and he was a disciple of Maharishi Vittal Ramji Shinde. And his writings of about covering 60 years from 1933 to 1993 till his death have been compiled into 40 books, 40 books. Those writings were scattered over. Those have been published, edited and published by his son Ramesh Chauhan. Great work done by Ramesh Chauhan. But what is important in all his books, you can see the picture of Raja Ram Mohan Roy here. In his books, we come across many examples of how he paid tribute to Raja Ram Mohan Roy. He wrote about Brahmoism. He wrote about Raja Ram Mohan Roy's achievement. Even this example I have taken right from Subodha Patrika. This is the issue published on 2nd May 1968, Subodha Patrika, in which there is an article, and in that article he describes the achievements of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, his Atmiya Sabha, his Brahmo Samaj, etc. And he also says that it was very imaginative thing. It was great vision, example of great vision of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, that he named that Samaj as Brahmo Samaj, giving importance to the principle of Brahma, the universal creator. So that kind of article written by Rana Chauhan. So Rana Chauhan continuously for many years appreciated the work of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and this example comes from the rural areas of Maharashtra. That is very important. Then let me tell you how the death anniversary of Roy was celebrated not only at Mumbai. Mumbai, yes, they did it, continuously did it, Mumbai, Pune, and they are doing it even today. But along with that, in different parts of Maharashtra, this is an example. You see, this is the issue of 1946 Subodha Patrika. And this describes how at Ahmednagar, the 114th death anniversary was celebrated. Lecture by one Mr. Govi Rajguru, who was a professor in a training college at Ahmednagar. In that lecture, he began with the Abhanga of Tukaram, Sadhu Konasa Manave, whom should be called as a real sadhu, real saint. And then, taking example of that Abhanga, then he delivered the lecture on Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Similarly, in 1946, the anniversary was celebrated at Vai also in Satara district. And that time, the lecture by Tarkatirtha Lakshman Shastri Joshi was organized, who spoke on the great achievements of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Just as Tarkatirtha Lakshman Shastri Joshi, he was a great intellectual in Maharashtra. He was the chief editor of Marathi, founder editor of Marathi Vishwakosh. And just as he was influenced by Raja Ram Mohan's ideas, he was also influenced by Manavendranath Roy's idea. So he delivered one more lecture in the year 1950 at Mumbai. And that example I would actually like to put before you, because that was a very important lecture, taking into consideration a long tradition in modern India, a long progressive and nationalistic tradition. So let me, the actually he spoke about Santa Tukaram, but later on he said that Tukaram was not merely the pinnacle of the Bhagavad movement of medieval period, but this movement continued later on also in India in a different way, Bhagavad tradition. And then he explained the greatness of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And then he came to the conclusion, finally in his lecture, that in the very difficult times, these three persons, he named three persons, Tukaram, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and Mahatma Gandhi. He calls them as Spurti Date, that is the great inspirers, those providing great inspiration. So if we follow them, then only we can achieve the expected progress in all fields of life. That's what he said in his lecture in 1950. I don't know whether I have sufficient time left. Will it be okay if I continue for 10 minutes more?
Okay, so let's end at 7:15. It is now 7:09. So let's end at 7:15. You can continue for
okay,
7-8
okay.
7-8 minutes.
About 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. Okay. I shall briefly say something about this. Instead of now showing all these examples, I shall just take 2 or 3 important examples. The bicentenary of Raja Ram Mohan Roy was celebrated by Prarthana Samaj on a very big scale. There are many examples, but now I shall just give one example, which is a very interesting example. You know, there are different families. You know, in politics, we speak about Gharane-shahi, but that is in a derogatory sense. But in case of Prarthana Samaj, many families greatly served the Prarthana Samaj. So I say that, I always say in a lighter vein, that that is a Gharane-shahi of different kind, good, righteous kind of Gharane-shahi. So there is one family, Nagarkar family in Maharashtra, which has greatly served the Prarthana Sabha. And one of them, Mohan Nagarkar. Mohan Nagarkar, in 1972, he wrote a small play on Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Tyanse Runa. This was first written in English. This play was staged in one school in 1972. Then it was translated into Marathi, and the Marathi version was published. And it was dedicated to his father. And a very interesting thing is, Mr. Balwant Nagarkar, his father, he was a great follower of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and he had attended the Parliament of Religions at Chicago in 1893 along with Vivekananda. And he was a staunch Brahmo person, Brahmo Samajist. Then, you can see this shrine or tomb of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. That picture is also published in that. And the play was performed. I shall just show you 2 photographs. The play was staged and it was performed. And at that time, the function was presided over by the Chancellor, Vice Chancellor of Mumbai University, Professor T.K. Tope. Mrs. Aruna Nagarkar was the editor of this journal of Mumbai Prarthana Samaj for quite a long time. And this is an example. She had written an article, and in that she had given emphasis on the fact that Raja Ram Mohan Roy had a universal approach, and he was the man of the world, it is stated there. He was the man of the world, whole world. So, and now, quite interestingly, the son of Mohan Nagarkar and Aruna Nagarkar, Mr. Milind Nagarkar, is currently the president of Mumbai Prarthana Samaj, and his sister is the secretary of Mumbai Prarthana Samaj. So this is the example of a family, how the family was influenced by this. Okay. This example is very, because I am giving the examples of Prarthana Samaj. Now this is a different example. Navabharat, currently I am the editor of that journal. This is a great intellectual journal from Maharashtra. And this is now in the 75th year, Amrut Mahotsav. 75 years this is running. In 72, 2 articles were published in that intellectual journal on Raja Ram Mohan Rai. One by Naba Marathe, in which he questioned some accepted notions about Raja Ram Mohan Rai. He said that, well, he is the father of this thing, that thing. But actually, there were some other reformers who started their work even earlier than him. Then the condition was such that this reform was to take place like that. So he raised some issues and he tried to put forward some rational arguments about the greatness of Raja Ram Mohan Rai. He showed respect for him, but he questioned some of the beliefs about Raja Ram Mohan Rai. And then Rana Chavan came forward with another article in which he argued that what was said by Naba Marathe is not acceptable. And then in a very logical way, he continued that debate and proved how Raja Ram Mohan Rai was in the real sense the father of modern India. So that debate was going on this occasion in 1972 in Maharashtra. Now, one very interesting example. In the field of education, school education, this is a 3rd standard textbook in Maharashtra. This was published, this was taught to 22 generations, 1969 to 1990. The title of the book was Thoranchi Olak, and one of the articles was on Raja Ram Mohan Rai. See, 3rd standard book, small article on Raja Ram Mohan Rai. 3rd standard was the beginning of the history education of the students in Maharashtra. So at the very beginning of their study of history, they studied the achievements of Raja Ram Mohan Rai. For 22 generations were produced through this process. So why I said this, that this is the way Maharashtra has paid respect to Raja Ram Mohan Rai. And these are some examples. Sirur Balakashram, Daurange Balakashram at Pandharpur, in their reports, in the annual reports of Prarthana Samaj also, there are hundreds of references how they celebrated the death anniversary of Raja Ram Mohan Rai. And actually, Pune Prarthana Samaj had scheduled my lecture on 3rd in their Varshikotsav, but due to some 11th hour difficulty, that has been postponed. But why I mentioned that? Because even today, Raja Ram Mohan Rai is remembered in Maharashtra, revered by the people, greatly respected by the people, and even today he proves to be a great source of inspiration to the Marathi people. And that's why it is actually my moral duty and commitment to pay tribute to Raja Ram Mohan Rai on behalf of all the Marathi people on this great occasion. I am thankful once again to all from the learned audience and to the organizers for giving this opportunity to have a dialogue. I propose to write something on this, maybe in the form of article or in the form of booklet, but it will take some time. This is just a beginning, and this is some part of my ongoing research. Okay, thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Dr. Raja Dixit. In fact, we were really enlightened by the parallels that you have drawn between Bengal and Maharashtra, and how the Brahmo Samaj movement had influenced the social reformers of Maharashtra, Pune, and especially the long ties that Brahmo Samaj and the Pune Prarthana Samaj had together. So it was really very interesting to know all this. Maybe some of them, these sources are here and there, they are scattered, but since you have compiled them together and have shown the evidences one by one, it really puts a real focus on what exactly you wanted to say. So thank you for that. May we now open it up for questions. So if people do have questions, please can you unmute yourself and ask Professor Dixit.
I'm Jayati Gupta from Kolkata, and I'm also into teaching. I just wanted to say how benefited I think all of us have been by this insight that you have given into Ram Mohan's influence in Maharashtra. Many of the sources that you were talking about are in Marathi. You did say that, sometimes it was in English and then, it was translated into Marathi. But many of the sources are from these magazines or journals of the early times. And I think the kind of work that you have done is really inspiring. And more than a booklet or an article, I think it is material for a book. Because
I agree.
many of us, outside, don't know about these influences. And, somehow, I don't know. You did say, of course, in the end that in Maharashtra, he's still revered and inspired, is inspiring. But I don't know. But somehow, I think to a large extent, he has been regionalized in Bengal to a large extent. So the fact that he was a national figure and he still, can function as a national figure because of the kind of reforms that he was talking about, which are still relevant today. So I think, Professor Dixit, you should actually think in terms of a book.
Okay, that is most welcome. Your suggestion is most welcome. I'm thinking on those lines. As I said, my research is going on, but I shall definitely take into consideration your suggestion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So are there any other questions? So I also would second Professor Jayati Gupta's opinion of, this should be, compiled in a book with all the references which you are giving. So those magazines, facsimile copies of the magazine and the pictures that you had shown, where the school was in the Pune Prarthana Samaj building in the earlier times, and then it was taken inside the school. So I think these are all evidences of history, which I think should be given to the people who are interested, especially to the for the next generation to understand what exactly the movement, how it had spread from from people who are into history and to research. They would definitely benefit from this. So any other questions? Anyone wants to or shed some light on this, or maybe have a different point of view?
Actually, may I say something about
Yes, please,
this?
please.
Actually, the idea of writing a book is most welcome. That is one thing. One more point that is in my mind, right from when I did this work. Uh, you know, now the translation studies, this branch is developing, and many translations are brought out. And you have a very good, institutional structure. Every year, All India Brahmo Conference is being held. So what I believe is, just as Shivnath Shastri had written the history of Brahmo Samaj, Vaidya had written the history of Prarthana Samaj. It was a 750-page book. And while editing and revising this book, extending this book, Vaidya had written the history of Prarthana Samaj only up to 1927. Then I added a big chapter based on my research on the history of Prarthana Samaj from 1927 to 2018, almost 90 years history. And to Vaidya's text, I added more than 100 footnotes. And in this book, you will find more than 450 footnotes added by me. So this will give you the idea about the whole research. I have gone through not less than 300 volumes of the Journal of Prarthana Samaj. So the extensive study has been done in Marathi, and this is not merely the study of what is called Prarthana Samaj. In a way, this is the study of the social reform movement in India. So this must be translated into English. That's what I feel. Of course, probably Asiatic Society has published it. Probably they will think about this. But I think that the Prarthana and Brahmo Samajes must take initiative in this, because this is about their movement. They bring out Manthan, these souvenirs and some other publications. And here I would like to just share one thing with you, that Professor Zog of Pune Prarthana Samaj has, because we were discussing about this booklet, probably book, he has agreed to publish the book on Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Maharashtra if I write it. So that is a welcome sign. So this should be continued. Probably I shall write it in Marathi, because almost all the sources are in Marathi. First I shall write it into Marathi, but then it should be translated into English. If this is done at the national scale, then that will immensely contribute to the study of the Brahmo movement in general and the social reform movement in the national context.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, is there anyone who wants to add anything? So it seems there are no other questions. So I would then like to sum it up for today. So, and the customary vote of thanks. So first of all, I would like to thank Professor Dixit, because this immense research that he has done and the various sources that he has given to us really proves, the tenacity of his endeavor, and also how he has established, even from the journals, some of the journals that he has brought in is he was given the example of the one which was published before the death of Ram Mohan, 1832. So that was the oldest one that he had given us. So we know what India was thinking before Ram Mohan had died in Bristol. So from there, the examples, and the one which he showed was the class standard 3 history textbooks. So it's a whole passage that he has given to us, and also the citations and the various acknowledgements that he has given of the various authors who were influenced by the Brahmo movement and how they had given it to us. So really, it's something which those who had witnessed this lecture have been privileged to learn all this. And those who had missed it, so I would definitely urge them to watch this on YouTube, because we will be putting this up on YouTube as well. Next, I would like to thank Professor Sushma Jog for her wonderful introduction and the way that she had set the context for this meeting. And finally, I would like to thank all the audience who had been with us for this 1.5 hours patiently listening to Professor Dixit and really taking in the various aspects that he has brought out to us, and really thankful to him. So it's now just 7:30, so we'll just close it here. And thank you for attending, and look out for the messages for the next webinars. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a wonderful treat.
So thank you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be. So we are ending the session over here. Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar.